going to be the tutorial that's going to show you how to make these diamond mesh bottle holders. So what you need for this project is a 5mm hook, and move these out of the way. I used at least 3, and the ones that I like that are my favorites. The main one, the main color, I didn't even use a full skein. I've actually made like 3 from that same one. The secondary color, you're just barely going to use any of it at all. So if you have some soft kind of yarn that's 2-ply, 2-ply for the US, and it'll be 5-ply for Australia, and it's the softer kind, and it's acrylic, so it's going to be nice that you can wash it really easily. Just try to get something soft and that can be washed really good. I wanted to use this more softer acrylic because it seems like stronger. It doesn't stretch as much as like the 4-ply or Australia 10-ply yarn, because that stuff is really stretchy, and for a bottle holder you don't want it to stretch so much. So I do recommend you getting some of the 2-ply yarn for this. Okay, so first pick the color that you want to use for your main. I think this may show up better on camera, so I'm going to go ahead and use. Then we're going to do a chain of 3. 1, 2, and 3. And now we want to slip stitch the beginning chain to form a ring. And I do like to work over my tail because I like to pull it to tighten the hole after I'm done. So for round 1, you want to start by chaining 2, and then you're going to double crochet 15 into the center ring here, and this beginning chain 2 will count as a stitch. So while you're working your 15 double crochets, I recommend working over your tail. And when you get done, you should have a total of 16 stitches, because remember, we're counting the chain 2 as a stitch. Okay, when you get to the end of your round, you want to slip stitch in the top of the beginning chain 2 in your round. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my tail that I worked over and just pull it to tighten up that center. Okay, so for row 2, you want to chain 2, and then you want to go right back into that same stitch and do a double crochet. And then in the next stitch, you want to work 2 double crochets, and I'm going to be working over, you're going under both loops. I'm going to be working over my tail just to try to hide it a little bit more. No other reason. Okay, now you want to continue to work 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way around. And at the end of this round, you should have 32 stitches. Okay, when you get done with the round 2, you want to slip stitch in the top of the beginning chain 2. Then for round 3, you want to begin by chaining 2, and then you want to use the back loops only. You can see you have front loop and then the back loop. You're only going to be using this back loop, and you're going to be putting 1 double crochet worked in each stitch, but using the back loops only. And take your time. I know if you're using the same kind of yarn I am, it can be kind of hard to work with. Wants to separate and whatnot. There. Now you can see that the front loops are remaining right there. So continue to put 1 double crochet in each stitch around using the back loops only. And when you get to the end here, you want to slip stitch in the beginning chain 2, and you should have 32 stitches. Okay, we're done with round 3. You can see it's already starting to cup a little bit. Now for round 4, you want to do a chain of 2. Then you're going to want to back up into this previous stitch here, which is your very last double crochet of the round, and you're going to do a double crochet in that one, and that will be your first double crochet crossover stitch. So now this is your chain, so you're going to be you already worked one in that. This is your very first double crochet of the round, so you want to skip this one and work a double crochet in the next, and then you'll back up and double crochet in that previous stitch you skipped just a moment ago, and you'll continue that all the way around. Skip one stitch, double crochet in the next, then back up and double crochet in the stitch you just skipped. You'll continue to do your cross stitches all the way around. Okay, I just got done with my last cross stitch. You should have 16 cross stitches all the way around, and you should end perfectly with the last 2 stitches of the round with your last cross stitch. And then you'll want to slip stitch in the beginning, chain 2 to end the round. Okay, now for round 5, and you'll be working round 5 through round 8. The next 4 rounds, you'll be working them the way I'm about to show you now. And if you want to make one like I did this one, you just made this row and you'll be making the next. It's only on the 3rd row, because you make 5 rows total of cross stitches. So only on the 3rd row I switched to black, and then I didn't cut my yarn because I knew I was going to use it here, so I just switched to blue, and then I cut my blue yarn because I was done with it, and then I just went ahead and slip stitched my black back into my loop and continued on with black before I started my knitting. So that's how I did that. So I'm going to show you how to do the next 4 rounds. You want to chain 2, and then you want to, every cross stitch has one going one way, one going the other, and they each have 2 stitches. So when you chain 2, you want to go ahead and use the 2nd stitch of this double crochet, of this cross stitch. You don't want to work one cross stitch over, like, see, this one is 2 stitches of the same cross stitch. You don't want to like go into this one and then go in this one, because your cross stitches will line up. So you're always going to be using one double crochet of one cross stitch and then finishing it and then another double crochet of the other cross stitch. So I chain 2, and I'm going to finish it by backing up and going into this cross stitch. Okay, so this is the first cross stitch on this this is the first double crochet of this cross stitch, and this is the one I just used to slip stitch and chain 2 in, so we definitely don't want to use that one. It's already been used. You want to skip this next one, and you'll be going in to the first double crochet of this following cross stitch. So you'll be using this one, then backing up and using the other stitch from the previous cross stitch. So I'm going to skip this one and go in to the next stitch, then back up and finish it. So always make sure that you're using one stitch from the next cross stitch and backing up into the other. That way it'll do more of a diagonal look, which I think kind of looks nice. It's not perfect, but it goes up this way. This is a row instead of this. Kind of gives a nice look, I think. So continue to do your next 4 rows the same exact way, and again, after every row, you're going to slip stitch in the beginning, chain 2, and then you'll chain 2 and then back up again. Okay, I went ahead and finished that row. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to pretend that I got my 5 done, and then I'll show you what to do to make the mesh part of the bottle holder. So once you've slip stitched in the beginning, chain 2, you will want to do a chain 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember, this is done after you've done your 5 rounds of cross stitches. You'll in your row, you'll chain 7, you'll skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and in this 4th stitch you'll slip stitch, and then you'll repeat that. Chain 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, skip 3 stitches, and then the 4th you want to slip stitch, then repeat, chain 7, skip 3, slip stitch. Continue that all the way around. Okay, when you reach the end of the round, you're going to slip stitch back in the very first stitch that you began your very first chain. Now for the next round, you're going to want to slip stitch up 4 stitches of your chain. So I'm going to go on the first one, slip stitch, that's 1, 2, slip stitch my 3rd, and then my 4th. That brings you up to the tip. And then you'll want to do your chain 7, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then you're just going to go right into your space and slip stitch. And then you'll repeat. Chain 7, 3, 5, 6, 7, and then you're going to go ahead and slip stitch just in that next chain 7 space. You're going to continue that all the way around, and to end the row though, you're going to slip stitch here, because remember you slip stitch up to the tip. Up here in the tip is where you're going to end the round, right up here where you began your chain. And I did mine 4 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm working on my 2nd row of this now, and then I'll do 2 more and have a total of 4 for the mesh. So go ahead and do that. You'll be working it exactly the same way as I just showed you. Finish this row, do it 2 more times, and then I'll show you what to do next. Okay, when you've got your 4 rows done and you've slip stitched here in the peak where you slip stitched up, and then you did your you slip stitched in this peak from below. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 open spaces. Then you're ready for the next round, which is round 13. Now if you want to make one like this, where you did the black, you'll want to switch colors to black now. But I'm going to make this in one color. If you want to switch colors, how I did it is I just took my next color and I would just grab it and pull it through my loop, then just pull the other one down, and then now just start working with the next color. Very easy to switch colors. So anyway, when you're ready for round 13, you want to chain 1, and then now you're going to be working in the chain 7 spaces again. You're going to be putting 3 single crochets worked on that chain 7 space, and then you move over to the next chain 7 space and work 3 single crochets in the next, and you'll work 3 single crochets in each chain 7 space. I'll see you back here in a moment. Okay, when you get done, you want to go ahead and slip stitch in the beginning, the first single crochet that you did in your first chain 7 space. So find that first single crochet and slip stitch. Now you're going to chain 2, and you're going to back up to the previous stitch to do your first cross stitch. And then you're going to, this is the very first one, you're going to skip the next stitch, because this one is the first of the 3 that we already worked our chain 2 in. So skip the next stitch, work a double crochet, the following stitch, then back up, and then that skip stitch, work a double crochet. Then we're going to work one in the center of the 3 single crochets in the next chain 7 space, and back up and work a double crochet in that skipped stitch. And we're going to continue to do this all the way around, doing your first of 5 cross stitch. rows. So I'm going to continue around. I'll see you back here in a moment. Okay, so when you get to the end of the round, you should end perfectly using the last 2 stitches, and you should have 12 cross stitches all the way around. And you want to slip stitch in that top of the beginning chain 2 to end of round 14. For round 15, you want to change colors if you're making it like I did. You did black here just now. If you were doing that, I mean, you're doing this black row, you just did it, so you would want to change colors the next 3 rows. If you want to make it like this, the last 2 cross stitch rows of the total of 5, just like you did below, the last 2 are going to be the main color. So you want to chain 2, and again you're going to back up and work a cross stitch just like you did before. You need to do a total of 5 rows. And remember to make sure that you're doing the beginning of the cross stitch in one cross stitch, and then finish it in the previous cross stitch. So continue that all the way around. You want to do this for a total of 5 rows. You've done it for 1 already, so you'll do it for another 4 rows, and I'll see you back here. Okay, for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to pretend that I did my 5 on this side too, my 5 rows of cross stitches. When you've slip stitched in the beginning, chain 2 to end your round, and you're ready to start your strap, I want you to chain 1 and go right back into that same stitch and do a single crochet. Work a single crochet in the next 5 stitches as well, which will give you a total of a 6 stitch strap. If you want it wider, then you can. I wouldn't recommend doing, too wide. So once you've done your 6 single crochets, you want to chain 1 and turn, and then work 1 single crochet in each stitch. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, when you get your 6, you chain 1 and you turn. And you will repeat this for as many rows as you want your strap to be. I recommend doing about maybe about 40 or something like that. Remember, it stretches after a while. So when you've done maybe about 40 or so rows back and forth, or I didn't count, I just did it until it looked pretty good. Remember that it stretches, so you want to do it much shorter than you want your actual strap to be, because it will stretch. But this is the right side. What you want to do is when you're ready to sew, you want to turn it inside out so that you have the back side facing you. And don't chain after this very last one like you would normally do to turn. And what I do is I fold it in half like this, and even my strap is folded in half. This is clearly one side, this is my other side, so I'll grab it and then I will fold it this way and hold it there. You want to align it to about 6 stitches and lay it down, and then you just want to maneuver it to where you have about the same distance on each side, and then line it up to about as much as you can. That looks pretty good. And you're going to want to go through your actual stitch here first. Actually, I think I'm on the wrong side. I need to be on the other side, I think. Yeah, I want to be on this side of my strap here. So when you get it here and you're on this side, grab it hold your place, mark it or something if you need to. And you want to go in through the stitch on the strap first, and then into the aligned stitch on this side. You definitely want to make sure that it's as straight as you can. Make sure you have it as even as you can. Once you have it in your strap and in your bag like this is where you want it, check it again, make sure that it's all in the center, and then you can just do a slip stitch to sew it there. And then you go on through the next slip stitch. You just do that all the way down, all 6 stitches, lining each stitch up. Sorry for the noise outside. Okay, once you've got all 6 stitches, you just want to chain 1, cut your yarn, and then you can hide your tail through the single crochets in your strap. And then, of course, this is just for the tutorial purposes, but you'll have a much longer one. And I also recommend, while you have it inside out, to hide all those tails that you may have if you switched colors like I did. And that's it. That's how you make the diamond mesh bottle holder. I hope that you liked this tutorial, and if you did, don't forget to click like. And also I share patterns on my Facebook page, and all the updated, most recent news of what's happening with me and my channel. It's posted there also, so feel free to check it out and click like there too. And you can always find this pattern of all my tutorials on my site. So all my patterns have pictures, so if something was unclear in the video, feel free to check the pattern and use them both, and I'm sure you can get it done. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching.